Hi everyone, my name is Leonard Carey. I'm CEO and founder of Aware Technologies. We specialise in the design of environmental sensors that's intended for the home and also other buildings, but also develop machine learning models and apply thermal performance models in the real world and see how we can combine that data with open data sets as well to get a better sort of lived experience of homes particularly. And we use that data to help predict things like mold and damp, and also how ventilation and heating is having an effect on the property. Sitting underneath or around all of that, we do a lot of visualization and development of applications as well to help people understand their environment more and to provide them with the triggers to do something that can make a small difference to change it for the better. We're a team of data scientists and some academics in machine learning, robotics, and in analytics. Embedded software engineers as well, designing our electronics, application developers as well, and also in underpinning all of that is our user research. It's got very much a user-centric and community and society-centered design approach to it, because everything that we're trying to do is all around finding better ways to deliver data privacy and data agency to individuals, especially in an area such as the Internet of Things inside people's homes, where we're capable of collecting lots of data about temperature, humidity, and that data, a lot of it, when you do put it all together, it can tell you quite a lot about someone's behaviour in their home. And some of that information people would want to share, and some that they want to keep very private. And at the moment, it's very difficult with a lot of solutions, I think, to find a way, what's the right balance between privacy, responsibility, transparency of data. And what we're trying to do is find what that balance is. Our business kind of started in earnest in around about 2019, and we were lucky enough to win a competition run by Leeds City Council and sponsored by GovTech Catalyst to apply our technology and our approaches to help them get a better understanding of their social housing stock, make better predictions around what needs repairs, particularly around mold and damp. And I think the driving piece to this was how to find a way to better engage with tenants and to provide them with improved services, better advice, and better assistance. And so we started the project back in 2019. We had a hypothesis that said, well, people would want to adopt and embrace the Internet of Things in their own homes and the monitoring that goes on, only if they had agency over their data and only if they had greater accessibility to it, regardless of their social situation, regardless of where they lived, their age, and regardless of whether they were digitally engaged at all. What was really important for us was to be able to talk to and work with those who were seldom heard or difficult to reach. The project in 2019 was pretty successful. There's a short, sharp burst of activity, and then we had, I think a lot of us, 2020 was a difficult year, and so the project stopped for a year, and then it's now picked up again in 2021, where we're still exploring the same challenges about how do we provide the right type of data that's going to give the council the information they need to predict what's going on with their housing, but also to address, I think, what's now becoming quite a strong movement around responsible data, ethical data. And so the project now is wider. It is very, at the heart of it is a community-centered design approach. So we are working a lot more with the council teams, whether it be from housing, the contact centres, the tenant engagement officers who are engaged really with We're talking to tenants about their daily needs and what is it that the council can help them with. Working particularly with tenants as well, across all age groups, across all backgrounds, all over Leeds. We've got a very strong emphasis on making sure that they're very representative of the citizens of Leeds, including those who typically don't engage digitally in any services, those who may not have English as their first language, those who may have a little bit of a distrust around some of this technology, those who are seldom heard or are very hard to reach. And so helping us along the way to bring together this idea of community-centred design are some of the support groups and charities that work with Leeds, work with the tenants, whether indirectly or directly. And there are quite a few, because what we believe in is that with this data, just about people's homes, there's an awful lot of other knock-on benefits that can come from knowing that you are in a warm and safe environment. And so we're focused on understanding all different perspectives, so we can hopefully get it right and get the balance right between what stays really private and what needs to be shared, what responsibilities people have when they do have access to that data, what's ethical, how we use that data ethically as well, and how we just generally trust that information to help us make a slight shift in behaviour or a shift in prioritisation of investment or work to be done. When we first started on our journey in 2019, we had a very, very strong purpose around giving people agency over their data, because we felt that through that, people understand the value of their data, and if they had the chance to be able to share that with who they wanted to share it with, and decide what to share and when to share it, and that consent would be an ongoing thing rather than just being a one-time only thing. We believe that communities would find better ways to resolve some quite big issues, I guess, particularly around housing. Because if people were willing to share, but also they understood what they were sharing, then they feel more confident in being part of the co-creation of new services that I think we all need. And since starting our journey, what's really great is that, and we're taking inspiration from movements and projects, initiatives from the ODI, from Project IF, from Tim Berners-Lee, the Solid Project as well. Because I think what's great to see now is there's a greater emphasis on let's look at communities and societies first. Let's look at how that data that we all generate, how can we use it in a more responsible way, but still find a way to help those people who are responsible for our health and safety as well, such as the council, particularly in social housing settings, how they can have access to that information in a way that is just enough for them to make better decisions. So to end, we're 3 months in the project and we've got another 9 months to go. We've reached a significant milestone only a week ago where we were able to put our technology into 20 homes. And I think one thing that's going to be driving us forward is always this idea of the balance of data agency, data responsibility, the ethics of data, and understanding that that's going to be different for everybody. And how do we find a way of accommodating everybody's requirement? And what we're keen to do is make sure we hear as many voices as possible. And those voices, I've already mentioned Project IF and the Solid Project, but I do know that ODI are doing an awful lot of work around ethics. If any of you out there are looking at similar ways to approach data, we're always open. and we'd love to be able to speak to you more. Thank you very much.
Great stuff. Thanks, Leonard. That was amazing and really interesting talk, and it's fantastic to see that you're doing that work in Leeds as well, in the north. You talked a lot about, and you talk about how data is managed and the ethics around that, but it's a very uncertain question at the moment. I think a lot of people have concerns around it. How do you think actually this is going to play out, or what are the options that you think you as a WhereTag will deliver?
Well, we don't know really how it's going to play out. We're on a journey of trying to understand how it's going to play out. And just an example of that, yesterday we were talking to the Leeds Council Information Governance team about what the future does hold in relation to GDPR as we know it today, and where the ICO are thinking about where it needs to be. And for those teams, the information governance team, it's kind of new for them as well. Yeah. So the way that we're approaching it is, let's not assume that we know the answer, but let's involve information governance, the tenants themselves, some of the council staff, and try almost create a new future, I think, around data and data privacy and data ownership.
And obviously, I mean, the ODI HQ have their data ethics canvas, which people can use for free. We're currently building an online version or an interactive version of that. So putting it on the web, which I think will be, it's a great thing about accessibility, making those tools available for everyone.
Yeah.
And then one of the questions we always wrestle with is, how do you stop governance chilling innovation? So that, how do we make sure that innovation happens without governance dominating constantly the process?
It's a hard one, and right from the beginning, when we looked at this situation, we looked at how we could architect the technology and where we store the data and what we then make available and who can make it available to, so we can at every stage still foster that sense of innovation. So at some levels, there's only, just going to the detail, at some levels we're maybe posting out, say, 5 bytes worth of data, and then that's compressed a lot of information in there, but it's just enough to be able to still do some innovation. And the other end, we've got gigs of data that's stored at the edge that you can do an awful lot of stuff with. And then right at the very, very edge, where on our sensors we've got maybe say a meg of data that you can do some work with right at the very edge. So we're always trying to find, not to stifle innovation, but finding ways that with the data that we've got at different parts of the chain, I can still be innovative with it.
Yeah.
And I guess that's pretty hard. Yeah, it's pretty hard.
And I guess the more transparent you are, the more open you are in the way that you work, the easier it is for people to trust you and for you to manage the ethical issues. So obviously, ODI Leeds being radically open, we'd love to make sure that we can help you out with all of that. We've got some questions that are coming through on the live chat. So this is a great one, and it goes to our point around making things open, making things better. Is how do we get more schools involved and engaged in sharing data about themselves, their location, their place, and there's a specific question around pollution. But linked to that,
I think the way we've approached it, we've always wanted on the team. We've got some Leeds University academics. The youngest person on our team, he's only 18. He's just about to go to university, and he's doing further maths. But all the way along, as a business, we've always tried to think of a way, how are we going to get younger people involved in data? And it's one of those things where we've tried to make sure that data isn't like a spooky thing. It's kind of difficult to get your hands around. How are we going to make it really easy for people to get involved in it and want to play with it? Almost play with it as if, I always use the analogy of Lego. It's a brick, and just dive in and play and connect things together. So part of that, and in this project, we will be planning some hackathons We'll be working with Leeds Council as well, just to make sure that the data that we present to people is open and they're happy for people to be using it. There's always been a key theme that runs through the business that, how do we get young people involved and do strange things like D3. There's some great art that you can do with D3 graphics and some MATLAB stuff, and forget about the data. Just look at what it can do, and it's so we just love that sort of thing, and that's what we want to be able to do in the next few months is get more young people involved and do some amazing things with their data.
Cool. So do cool stuff, and it'll mean people get engaged. Yeah.
I mean, because it's when you look at when you've got a database full of 10 million or more rows of data, it's not that interesting really. But when somebody takes that and does some fantastic animated, I call it art really, which actually tells you a little bit more about what's actually going on. It's just fascinating. It's just stunning.
Fantastic. So we're just coming to the end here, but just tell us a little bit more about the future of your company, your project in IoT. Just let us know what you think is going to happen next.
So for us, the project is a 12-month project with 3 months in, 9 months left. The absolute focus is with Leeds to find a way to get that balance. I think I said in the talk around data agency responsibility and data ethics, so that actually the people of Leeds, the citizens of Leeds, the tenants of Leeds feel more empowered by understanding their own data and can get more involved in how that data is then used. And we're doing a lot of work with Leeds to find how to get people on that journey and how to try and use that data to address some social problems as well. So we do see that a lot of our technology is about trying to address some social issues around health and housing, not just in Leeds, but wider. So we will be having a strong focus on how we can use the data to map the performance of homes, for instance, how that then trickles down and influences retrofitting for greener homes for 2030, how that then cascades into the third sector as well, and how they can help accelerate some of these things, knowing what the housing stock and the health of people are in those homes. So we do see it spreading out a bit more into different areas, that not just Internet of Things.
Fantastic. Well, it's been so good to talk to you today, and it's been really great to hear about your project. So I'd just like to say on behalf of everyone watching and ourselves, thanks for joining us, Leonard.